Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe.
I'm TV host, entertainment journalist, Cognac, Wellerlane, and I am here with Glenn Rudner, and he is the owner of the Cistalia. Is that how we pronounce it?
Well, I'll give you credit. It's Cisitalia.
Cisitalia. It's more Italian. Anyway, darling, tell my audience about this car and why you decided to buy it.
So this is the Cisitalia 202B, and this is the Sol Vignale body car. Remaining. The car was famous mostly for being in the Museum of Modern Art here in New York City, starting back in the late 1940s. And I've owned the car about a dozen years, and I just enjoy the aesthetics of the car.
It's absolutely beautiful. Is this the first car, a vintage car you've ever owned, or have you owned others? Tell us about some of the cars you've owned.
I've got a fairly large collection. Some Italian stuff. I have a propensity for collecting weird and eccentric French cars as well, so I've got quite a few of those.
How many cars do you own?
That's not a question you ever want to ask a car owner.
Yes,
it's
I
like
do.
Asking a woman how many shoes she has, right?
I own 100.
I own a few less cars.
A few less cars. Is this your favorite?
It's kind of like children, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like, how could you pick a favorite? Absolutely. Yeah. Is this the first time you've ever decided to show your car here at the Greenwich?
No, I've shown a few other cars here in the past. They asked me this year, obviously they're doing a Vignale body car class this year, so they just asked if I bring this one out since I live fairly close to here. I live in the city.
You live in Manhattan.
Yes.
What do you think of the Greenwich Concourse de Elegance?
I think they do a good job overall. There's some issues that need to be addressed with Haggerty as the sponsor, to be honest with you.
Can you tell us what you think?
I'm a longtime Chowder Club member, and Chowder Club previously used to have ownership of this show, and I think since Haggerty's taken over, it has had some negative implications, to be very honest with you.
That's like everything. Well, anything corporate, that's what you got to deal with. What could I tell you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that Haggerty, unfortunately, has taken a more corporate aspect of this show, and it's upset a lot of, car enthusiasts who have generously provided their cars for this show for decades, and now they've raised the price on us, and...
Really? They really have raised the price? Wow.
When I first started showing here not all that long ago, Chowder Club members were given gratis admission here. Now they charge us full fare, essentially. And I don't think Haggerty has a great sense of appreciation for what we do, bring our cars here from which they sponsor and profit.
Well, you are an artist in a way. You have a keen eye for art, you're a collector, and, they don't get that.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. What do you do for a living?
I'm a physician.
Are you really? What kind of a doctor?
Not the kind you ever want to see, trust me. I do forensic pathology.
Interesting. If we want to learn more about you as a doctor, do you have a website?
forensic pathologists don't generally have websites.
They don't.
We don't want to attract
Do-
patients.
What about Facebook? What about Instagram?
I don't do any social media.
No social media, but you own this beautiful car at the Greenwich Concourse de Elegance. I want to thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us right here at Cognac's Corner Magazine. And we will be back with more interviews right here at the Concourse de Elegance, darlings. Pink champagne kisses. Yeah, because of the market.
Yeah.
From the,
Watch out, kid. Excuse me.
I told him sticker to sticker, so he goes, we have some time left. You know what he's going to do? He's going to sell it in.
Well, yeah, it was inside.
That's okay. I like garage. I could be wrong.
Over at, right. You've got a photo of it sitting up on the chandelier inside. Yeah.
Fugatis are your nephews?
So just email it to, I finally got
Ferraris or
Oh, is it?
This one's associated with Jackie Coogan. Could be others. One of the difficulties, MGM was here
the Jaguar prize burnt in the 80s.
Oh.
So I still working on it. I haven't given up.
How bad it hurt when you broke me first. You broke me first. Took a while, was in the ground at first. How bad it hurt when you broke me first.
Yeah, there are too. Right. Oh, it's fine. Yeah, so really,
That's the guy. That's the guy who has that garage or something. Yeah. He does it pretty regularly.
Oh yeah,
Right. Oh yeah. One guy who has.
Just in time.
Good luck.
Well, enjoy, yeah.
The one that's not bent as much.
Oh, really?
But that's about
Thank you to our friend keep it going so far all day. It is going to be it is already just simply stunning. To start, we had the good fortune to walk through some of the classes this morning, get to talk to some of the judges. What has been amassed here, Bill, you can say with absolute confidence is truly world-class in every aspect. The cars, the motorcycles, the new, even the concessions, everything today is truly at the very pinnacle of what a Concours de Elegance should be. 142 cars and motorcycles. You're much a bag. And it is we're in that.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take you to sure. You got it. Okay, thanks.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Likewise, nice to meet you too. Enjoy your day.
The 31st car in the National Register, which is here today. There's a little bit of something for everybody.
There's a lot of history on display here, and Bill, I think there's a lot of history being made now with the Rarity involvement in the Greenwich Concours de Elegance. Look behind us, we see motorcycles.
Overview of the show field. We have Vignale-bodied cars as well as Vignale-bodied Ferraris for the coach-built set. Of course, the typical brass cars, classic era cars, things such as that. But we have special classes of muscle cars, which are all pony cars, all cars from the Trans Am era. 300 Chrysler 300 letter series cars, powered by America.
I was going
to say was probably one of our favorite things, was to see all these cars. There are 14 cars here that are from the time when you took an American V8 typically and planted it in a European car, a European chassis, again, many times coach built. Some cars which you'll never see ever anywhere.
We started the day off with a fantastic conversation about the Aston Martins, all of the series and the numbers from David Brown's involvement. Then we went over and talked about some amazing Chryslers with some more letters and some numbers in their nomenclature. Bill, I think it's fair to say that the crowd today is quite robust, but I want to add a little something. If you had the incredible good fortune of being here yesterday, you saw what, Bill, I'll go out and say this, I truly believe happened yesterday here at the Concours de Elegance with Radwood and Concours de Elegance. That is truly the future of the hobby. I don't want anyone to ever tell me again, Bill, and you and I hear this, what about the hobby? Will it survive? What we experienced yesterday, and it was a robust crowd, is a white-hot passion for maybe a little bit more peculiar and less classic automobile. And I think it's going to evolve into something amazing.
I think your point is really well made. The comment, regardless of where you are or what event, there's always a discussion about how do we get younger people involved, more kids involved. Yesterday proved to us that our hobby is alive and well and doing great. And it was great to see so many younger people here and engaged and involved. The Radwood is cars of the 80s and 90s. Now, that was, I hate to say, kind of my era, maybe even a little bit past it, but cars from the 80s were not particularly memorable.
Are you saying, Bill, that you still don't have your parachute pants and leg warmers?
Thank God. Well, I couldn't get one leg and one pair of pants, probably. That's the real reason. But here you have cars that were largely forgotten, and suddenly we're celebrating them and remembering them not only for what they were, but what they weren't in many respects. And it's so great to see the enthusiasm that people have for the average and the mundane.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's really, really cool. And an important part of our hobby, it brings in younger people, brings in kids, brings in families. We have the Haggerty Zone, which is open today for all the kids, where you can do tabletop racing, things like that. We have the indoctrination of the fabulous Hudson Hornet as number 32 in the, or 31 car, the 31st car in the National Register, which is here today. There's a little bit of something for everybody.
There's a lot of history on display here, and Bill, I think there's a lot of history being made now with the Rarity involvement in the Greenwich Concours de Elegance. Look behind us, we see motorcycles, Bill. We've got amazing cars all here on the waterfront. We are in for what I will call a truly spectacular day this Sunday.
And to top off that spectacular day is the presentation of our colors, the singing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, we bring to you today the operatic voice of Mr. Donald Osborne.
See by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Donald Osmond.
Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist Cognac Wellerlane. We're here at the Concours de Elegance, and I'm here with Miss Susan Garrity, and she owns this fabulous blue, gorgeous
342 America.
Yes, tell us about this car.
It's a one-off. There were 6 342s made, 3 cabriolets and 3 coupes. And this is the first one, and it's also the only one bodied by Vignale. And the body design is by Michelotti. It's got a racing engine. For a while, Enzo went from using Colombo engines to using Lampredi. And so it has a 12-cylinder, 3-carburetor Lampredi engine, racing engine. And
Wow.
that's why it's got an even chassis number.
Wow. Now, is this the first, I guess, exotic car you've ever owned, or have you owned others?
No, we've owned others as well.
How many cars have you, or how many cars do you own?
We actually also own what would have been originally the chassis number after this car. It was owned by Juan Perón in Argentina.
Wow.
And that car is undergoing restoration right now by David Card in Virginia.
So you and your husband are real car enthusiasts.
Yes.
Fabulous. How many cars do you own?
I'd have to start counting.
That many?
A few.
Oh, wow. Amazing, amazing. Now, is this the first time you've ever featured a car, one of your cars, here at the Concours de Elegance?
It's the first time we've been to Connecticut for a show.
Where are you guys from?
We're from Wisconsin.
Wow, you came all the way from Wisconsin. Tell my audience, what do you think of the Concours de Elegance so far?
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful location and really convenient with the hotel.
Yeah, you staying at the Del Mar?
Yes, we're staying
Gorgeous,
at the Del Mar.
isn't it?
And we've had a great time so far. And
the food there is excellent, and the rooms are beautiful.
Yes.
And the dinner is amazing. They have parties, you know. I think they're supposed to be having a big party tonight. Aren't they supposed to have a party tonight?
Actually, we're actually flying out later in the day.
Oh, too bad. You might.
We're gonna miss anything that comes after this. I think the big dinner was last night.
Oh, it was last night. I see. The big gala.
Right.
They had that gala every night. I keep telling my husband I want to go to that gala.
Yeah.
Do they have a lot of car shows where you guys are from in Wisconsin?
Well, there is the Milwaukee Masterpiece, and sometimes the International Ferrari Show has been at the Ustaf at the racetrack at Elkhart Lake a couple of times. But aside from that, they're, little car shows.
Nothing as big as this.
No.
This is pretty grand.
Yes.
Very grand, as a matter of fact. Now, have you ever been to New York City?
Yes, when I was very young. And actually last year we went by it on the way to Rhode Island for a car show. But New York is big.
New York State is very big. But it's a pleasure to be here with you and to talk to you about your beautiful car And thank you so much for the interview. And
thank you.
we will be back, darlings, with more of the Grand Concours de Elegance. Keep watching. Pink Champagne Kisses. Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist, Cognac Wellerlane, and we are here at the Concours de Elegance, and we're right in front of this fabulous Alfa Romeo, and I'm here with the owner, and he's going to introduce himself to the camera.
Oh, I'm John Gerhardt.
John, tell my audience about this magnificent Alfa Romeo. Tell us the story, how you found it and why you decided to buy it.
We were out at Pebble Beach, and we were at an auction out there, and this Alfa came up, and I was there with my son. Being a car enthusiast, my wife wouldn't allow me to get a bidder's paddle, but I talked my son into getting one.
Wow.
And when it came up for bid, I loved the car, so I shoved my elbow into his ribs and broke his ribs and told him to bid on it. So we ended up with it.
Did you, were there a lot of people bidding at the same time? I mean, some maybe
the bidding starts and then it stops, and then you can throw another bid on. So that's how we ended up with it.
How many bids before you got the car?
I don't recall.
You don't remember,
No.
but you got it.
We got it.
Wow.
We were ecstatic.
What is this car worth?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever someone will pay for it.
That's what everyone always says. Whatever anybody pays for, that's what the car is worth. Now, have you owned other exotic cars like this?
I own mostly post-war cars.
Okay.
A lot of Jags, 58 fuel-injected Corvette, Ferrari. Yeah.
How many cars do you own?
Total? About 10.
That's pretty good. 10 cars.
Mostly Jags.
Some of these people, I asked them how many cars they own, and they can't even really give me a number. That's how many cars they own. They don't even know they own so many.
That's correct.
How long have you been a car enthusiast?
60 years?
That's a long time. That's like my husband. He's a real car enthusiast too. He dragged me. His thing is the cars. My thing is entertainment.
Oh, the cars are beautiful. I mean, you can see how automotive design has evolved over the decades, century, and you've seen different solutions to automotive problems. I mean, it's great.
Is this the first time that you've ever entered a car at the Grand Concours de Elegance?
No, this is the third time.
What do you think of the Grand Concours de Elegance?
I like it.
It's a good
place,
right?
It's a good one. I love the setting. When you're on the water.
Right. Have you shown your cars to any other car shows across the country?
What, all the cars, you mean?
Yeah.
We've been down to, Cavallino. We've been to Amelia. We've been to Pinehurst. We've been to Hilton Head. Radnor Hunt. Many.
Do you have a favorite?
Do I have a favorite?
Place to show the car.
No, I just like each one has its own ambiance, you know, it's...
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I want to thank
you. See different people at different shows, and different cars at different shows, usually.
And you learn something, too, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. We find people who come up and say, geez, I remember this car from such and such. And it's fascinating. Pick up more history each time.
Fabulous. Well, you have a stunning, stunning, beautiful car, and I want to thank you very, very much for doing the interview right here at the Grand Concourse de Elegance, and we will be back with more interviews, darlings. Keep watching. Pink Champagne Kisses.
Thank you.
Very much.
Pass by Faraci.
You know what? You need to give him a call.
Okay, well.
Welcome back, darlings. I'm TV host, entertainment journalist, Cognac Wellerlane, and we are here at the Concourse de Elegance. And I'm here with a fabulous owner of this beautiful blue car. Introduce yourself to the camera, darling.
Hi, I'm Jim Taylor.
Mr. Taylor, tell us about this exotic car that you purchased.
It's a D-type Jag. Was built 1955. They built around 50 of them.
It's a very rare car.
Maybe it's 53, I don't remember. But it raced, not this car, but this model raced in Le Mans back in the day, and they won 5 times during the 50s. And they kind of ate up the Ferraris and the Mercedes. And one of the reasons that they were so successful is these are one of the first cars that had disc brakes on. And the other cars still had drum brakes on, and because having disc brakes, they could stop faster so they could go farther into the turns before they had to brake, so they had longer runs in the straightaways. And it's a wonderful racing vehicle.
Where did you discover this car?
I found it through a friend in Columbus, Ohio.
Interesting. How many years have you owned it?
Around 15, I think.
15 years, that's a long time. Do you own other cars besides this one?
I do. I own about 150 classic and vintage cars.
150. Wow. Do you have a favorite?
The next one.
Next one. I always ask everybody that question, and they always say to me, how can you distinguish which is your favorite? It's like having children. You can't, right? There's no such thing.
It's like children because you love them all for different reasons.
Exactly. Do you have any kids?
I have 5.
Not as many cars as, not as many as the cars. So tell me, is this the first time you've ever featured one of your cars at the Concourse de Elegance?
Well, I'm not actually showing this car. This car is here in that car and this car because we're having an auction at my garage in October, and I'm auctioning most of them off.
Really? How sad. Why?
Because of my age, and I'm in good health, but you never know. And I don't want to leave all those cars to my kids to have to deal with them after I'm gone.
Yeah, I wish my father-in-law thought of that when he had his chance to get rid of his cars. He didn't think of that.
So it's time.
It's time. It's time. And you've owned them for many, many years, and you're proud of all of them.
Oh, I love them all. Yeah, the one I've had the longest is a Model A Ford I drove when I was in high school.
Have that the longest. Wow. How did you find that car?
It belonged to my dad.
Fabulous. So you are a car enthusiast because you inherited it.
I guess it's in the genes, but...
It's in the genes. Listen, my father's father, his father, they all loved the cars.
That's right.
That's right. Well, I want to thank you very, very much for taking the time out to talk to us here at the Concourse de Elegance. And we will be back with more fabulous interviews. Keep watching, darlings. Pink Champagne Kisses.
Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac show. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm a bubbly blonde, fabulously dressed to impress. One of a kind girl, I was brought into this world wrapped up in pearls. I love to mingle, though my husband reminds me I'm not single. I meet and greet both the famous and the elite. I ride in limousines, drinking the finest champagne, wearing furs, dazzling diamond jewelry. A girl can't complain. I live the upscale life, dining in the finest restaurants, eating the best caviar for free. And no matter how much I enjoy cognac, ooh, ooh, I said cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. This has been a Crybaby Productions, darlings.